Well, welcome back to our 8, 9 viewers, whatever.
Yeah, I'm not sure. What we're
I'm
up to.
Conrad Kaskowski. For the other ones that are just tuning in, I'm with the American Legion here in Plymouth. And here's Dwayne Wick, also with the American Legion. And for those viewers that have been watching us, you're going, what happened to him? Well, Dwayne, why don't you explain? This is one of the fastest growing groups within the American Legion.
Right. The other hat, I wear actually three different hats. Normally just a regular Legion hat. This is the American Legion Riders, which is another segment within the Legion. And as Conrad had said, it's the fastest growing. We are of all ages, but everyone owns a motorcycle, at least 500 cc's. Once you're in the Legion, you can join the Legion Riders. We do a lot of extra fundraising for veterans. And another hat that I wear is a SAL, which maybe sometime we'll get into that, the Sons of the American Legion. So there's that's all part of our family of the American Legion.
So if you happen to have just a scooter, I'm sorry, you're going to have to build that baby up a little. Now, we're going to talk about a couple of fun things where, we dealt a lot with death benefits, health benefits, and all these other things, but this one's a little bit more fun. It's going to be doing with shopping. I know the wife might be sitting in the background. Yep, shopping, traveling, things like that. So what happened was the Department of Defense expanded commissary, military exchange, and morale, welfare, and recreation. It will be referred to as MWR. It's a really nice deal. These are retail privileges that are on United States military installations. Now, as specified earlier, these were reserved for Purple Heart and disabled veterans. Now, what happened was, of course, the retiree in the military and one still serving. So there was an act called Disabled Veterans Equal Access Act, started in 2018. And that was included in a John S. McCain National Defense Authorization Act. And here's what happened. This is very, very new. Since, and starting January 1st, 2020, access is expanded to all veterans with, this is the key, with service-connected disabilities. And this would include, the veterans, Purple Heart recipients, veterans of, as former prisoner of wars, individuals approved and designated as primary family caregivers. Kind of go into that in a little while. Now, the only other thing that they wanted to caution about, and we'll talk about that disability, new patrons eligible solely under this should be aware that the law requires that the Department of Defense charge a small user fee. And it's just, it really is discreet, not much at all. And if you're shopping at any of these places, one of the savings is there is no sales tax. Now, so a couple of questions about this. Let me cover the first one about this disability. The disability begins at 10%, and it can actually go down to 0%. But let's deal with that 10%. You can have tendonitis in the ears.
Okay.
Very annoying. I have it. That's a 10% disability, and this will definitely get into it. Obviously, anything higher, of course, will be. So, Dwayne, can veterans use the commissary?
Well, under this new law, you are now able to access an on-base commissary, military service exchange, golf courses, bowling centers, recreational lodging, RV campgrounds, movie theaters, and other recreational services. It applies to veterans from any branch of service.
Now, the commissary, just to refresh in your memory, that was kind of like the grocery store, catch-all stores that were on the bases. And what about those military exchanges that are on the bases? For instance, post exchange, base exchange.
Yes, and in those, it's limited to active duty and retirees and their dependents, members of the National Guard and Reserve and their dependents, and 100% service-connected disabled veterans and Medal of Honor recipients. So they are eligible.
Now, in order to use these facilities, can my Veterans Administration health card get me in?
Yes, that photo ID card, you will use that to check in, and it will also be used, but we'll also use them for base access under the new program. And this card must display the veteran's eligibility status, which would have the Purple Heart or former POW or service-connected disability.
Okay, remember that. It's on your card. All right. Now, there's also, and that this is a little, not a whole lot of information on the caregiver, spouses, your next door neighbor, whatever, is a caregiver helping you, have to go through a form and through the Veterans Administration, and they also become eligible. Now, here's one that I've been seriously looking at, the MWR facilities, the morale and
welfare and recreation
facilities. How about that? Can I get in?
Again, if it's of those things on the facilities as far as golf courses, recreational lodging facilities, yes, you can, if you have that disability again, you can use those facilities.
I have a relative presently staying at a former air station in Hawaii. And you can also stay within easy reach of Honolulu, although those are a lot more pricier, but not as pricey as the hotels that are going to be very close to you. So these are things that you want to look into. Check with the Veterans Administration. They'll direct you into the MWR sites. Now, we talked about the commissary. Any cheaper than Walmart?
Well, as far as Walmart would have a lot of generic type, their own brands, and those would still be cheaper than the commissary. So name brands in the commissary would probably be cheaper. And also, again, you wouldn't have the tax, and especially if you live in an area where there's food tax on that item, you wouldn't have that at the commissary.
Now, some of you may have noticed that when you visited your clinics, your VA clinics here, like not necessarily, I shouldn't say clinics, but your health providers, like in Green Bay, Milwaukee, I'm not sure about Appleton, but you'd find that they had these stores that were there. Some are a little bit better than the others. It's kind of the same thing. And again, they sometimes they have some really great sales. So I've been through there. That's something that I was looking for. But again, you know, if the thing's $100, figure out that tax, you know, you save a few bucks on that. Now, there's also veteran shopping, the exchange online. Now, this is something that is fairly new. And do you know, is there any benefit to doing that online?
It says that the approved veterans can shop online exchanges, including the Shop My Exchange. I think I've gotten some of that actually as emails. And this gives you access to exclusive military pricing and offers, tax-free shopping. And this is a lifelong benefit that will be extended to all who are discharged honorably from service. Plus, again, there's no sales tax. So there could be a benefit to that.
Now, what was I just talking about? Dwayne, it is referred to as www, all the W's, shopmyexchange.com. It's all one word, shopmyexchange.com. Shop My Exchange, go to Google and it'll take you over there. Now, when you want to register, you are going to be asked to submit some kind of paperwork to review your eligibility. Now, this can be anything from your DD-214, or probably one of the quickest ways, which is the way I did it, was if you were through the state of Wisconsin, recognizes you as a veteran, you slide right into it. And that's a good thing to do, is to check with the state of Wisconsin, or who do we always call?
We call our Veterans Service Officer.
Always call, anytime you have questions, call the Sheboygan County Veterans Service Office, and you can ask them the question over the phone, or if you're not sure about what you have or what you're eligible for, make sure you make an appointment. They take walk-ins, but you might be sitting around for quite a while. The best bet is make an appointment. And let me refer to one thing. We had a talk at our Legion social night from two of them that are there, and the one of the attendees at that made an appointment. He got over there, and he was having his hearing issues. He was artillery, and so they started going through his DD-214. Would you imagine something? There was a mistake. I know that's hard to believe, but the United States Army made a mistake, and they had down his MOS, which is his training numbers. You had your training numbers, what you're going to be doing and all of this. And the numbers were not in correct order. It was so bad that there was no training that ever existed under the numbers that they had. I mean, I found that hard to believe.
Okay.
And so what did they use to find the correct numbers? Google. So they had to correct his Army DD-214 through the use of Google, and then notified the Army, Department of Defense. Sorry, you goofed up a little, and got that all straightened out. Then it's gonna be a little bit of a delay now because of that, because there is a correction in his app for getting compensation for his hearing loss.
Okay.
Were you in artillery, or were you?
I was in artillery, but I was not near the guns at all, no.
Oh, okay. Because there was some question, and I know that a lot of the other fellows that I talked to that were in the arty field, they bring up the fact of earmuffs and noise suppression and all this, and they all kind of looked at each other like, really? It was called 2 fingers in the ears, and that was the noise suppression. So it's one of the highest applications for compensation is hearing. So again, Dwayne, I encourage you to please dig up that 214. If you can't find it, you can request a copy of it. If you had the foresight to have it registered at the courthouse in here in Sheboygan or wherever you were discharged, that's great. That really helps. Otherwise, Todd or Craig, and I think Joe, is it Joe?
Jonathan's another one in there.
Yeah,
yes.
they'll help you get a copy, and there won't be any cost because it's going to be regarded as a health inquiry. Anything other than that, I know that they do charge because all these forms, they have not been scanned. There's not even talk about scanning all these records yet. So they have to be found by hand, and then they make a copy. So and don't be discouraged. Please don't be discouraged by it. It might take a little while, but you know, we're talking benefits. We're talking stuff like this. You take advantage. You earned it. Crying out loud, right? I mean,
Sure.
Gee whiz. So, Wayne, I think that's going to probably wrap it up. And any other food for thought for our listeners out there?
Not right now. No, I can't think of anything.
So
I
far,
think
life is good. And we will be bringing back some more little tidbits, maybe a little more answers on a couple of questions that I had on this, or we'll see if there have been any new changes within the Veterans Administration that can help you all out there, okay? Thank you very much for watching. Really appreciate it. Thank you for your service.
If we have anybody that has viewed us for the first time and you see us, let us know so that we know that you're out there and we have additional viewers.
We're around town.